Okay guys, come back again to the phonology lesson. Today we will talk about stress in simple words. And this will be presented by Lailatul Khaira Ummah, Dedi Hendrawan, and Nuriyatul Fatihah. Let's check this out. And we will discuss about the three main topics. The first is the nature of stress, the second is levels of stress, and the third is placement of stress within the words. Okay, the nature of stress. What is stress in phonology? Stress is a degree of emphasis given a sound or syllable in speech. Stress pattern can help distinguish the meaning of two words that appear to be the same. So, stress is the kind of tekanan in the syllable. See the example of stress. We will say the first syllable of words is stressed in father, open, camera, and the middle syllable is stressed in potato, apartment, relation, and the final syllable is stressed in about, receive, perhaps. Okay guys, so you hear that the word's color is the stress over there. Let's see the transcription symbol. We will mark a stress syllable in transcription by placing a small vertical line. You can see before the syllable fa, there are the vertical line over there, so we can give the father sound like father over there. You can try it by yourself. Now we move to the characteristic of stress syllable. How can the syllable say that this is the stress? We have the two components here, that is production and perception. Production is depend on the speaker using more muscular energy than is used for unstressed syllable. And is perception. Many experiments have been carried out on the perception of stress, and it is clear that many different sound characteristics are important in making a syllable recognizably stressed. From the perceptual point of view, all stressed syllables have one characteristic in common, and that is prominent. Stressed syllables are recognized as stressed because they are prominent atau menonjol. What makes a syllable prominent, at least four different factors, are important. First is loudness. Most people seem to feel that stressed syllables are louder than unstressed syllables. In other words, loudness is a component of prominence. Second is the length. If one of the syllables is made longer than others, there is quite a strong tendency for that syllable to be heard as stressed. The third is pitch. If one syllable is said with a pitch that is noticeably different from the others, this will have a strong tendency to produce the effect of prominence. It means that jika sesuatu itu ada yang berbeda, pasti itu aku juga akan terlihat menonjol. The fourth is quality. A syllable will tend to be prominent if it contains a vowel that is different in quality from neighboring vowels. Experimental work has shown that these factors are not equally important. The strongest effect is produced by pitch, and length is also a powerful factor. Loudness and quality have much less effect.
Okay, after you study about the nature of stress, the next one is about levels of stress. There are three levels. The first one is primary stress, the next is secondary stress, and the last one is tertiary stress, or you can say it unstressed. Primary. That was happen where the stress always falls clearly on the last syllable, and the first syllable is weak. From that point of view of stress, the most important fact about the way we pronounce this word is that on the second syllable, the pitch of the voice doesn't remain level, but usually falls from a higher to a lower pitch. As you know, we can see at the diagram, the pitch movement as shown below. where the two parallel lines represent the speaker's highest and lowest pitch level. The prominence that results from this pitch movement or tone gives the song a type of stress, and that is what we call it primary stress. Okay, next is secondary stress. Secondary stress is more weaker than primary stress but stronger than that of the first syllable of primary stress. And for the example, you can see photographic, anthropology. Okay, we will become to the last one, tertiary stress, or we can call it unstressed. If in primary stress, we will always clearly on the last syllable, and at the first syllable is weak. At the unstressed, you need to reduce the first syllable. You can go into the example about poetic or pathetic. Take an example, we can see indivisibility. That shows us about the different levels of the syllable. The syllable bill is the strongest one. That's why carrying primary stress. And the initial syllable in must become secondary stress. And the third syllable fish has a level of stress which is weaker than those two. And the second, fourth, sixth, and seventh syllable, they're all is unstressed.
I'm Lailatul Khaira Ummah, and I will explain about placement of stress within the word and two syllables word. For the first one is about placement of stress within the word. As we know, English is one of those unpredictable languages. Each of its rules have an exception. The same thing goes to the placement of stress within a word. In order to decide on stress placement, there are some information that must to be taken. The first one is about morphological status, whether the word is morphologically simple or whether it is a complex word. Simple, it means that there is no affixes. For the example is thing. The word thing is a pure word or pure morpheme. There is no prefix and there is no suffix. For the complex, it means that there is affixes. For the example is thinking. Thinking is consists of two morphemes. The first one is thing and the second one is ing. Thing is a pure or root, and ing is a suffix. The rules of complex word are different from the simple word, but don't think too much because it will be dealt in the next chapter. The second one is about grammatical category of the word. Is it a noun, a verb, an adjective, or an adverb? For the noun, usually stressed near the beginning, and for the verb, usually stressed in the end of the word. The third one is about how many syllables the word has. Are they have 1, 2, or 3 syllables? The example of 1 syllable, love. The example of 2 syllables, attract. The examples of 3 syllables, entertain and entertain. The last is the phonological structure. Based on phonological structure, syllables divided into 2 basic categories. They are strong and weak. One component of syllable is the rhyme, which consists the syllable peak and the coda. For the first one is about strong syllable. Strong syllable has rhyme with a syllable peak, which is a long vowel or diphthong, with or without following consonant or coda. For the example is die, heart, see. In the word die, it consists of diphthong a as the peak, so it includes in strong syllable. The other example is heart. Heart is consists of long vowel a as the peak, so it includes in strong syllables. Then, strong syllable has a rhyme with a syllable peak is a short vowel, and one of them is e, a, and u, followed by at least one consonant. For the example is bite, pull. Pull consists of short vowel u as a peak, so it includes in strong syllable. Then, about weak syllable. A weak syllable has a syllable peak which consists of one of the vowels a, e, u, and no coda except when the vowel is a. Syllabic consonant also weak. For the example is solve. The syllable v is a weak syllable because it consists of a as the peak. Then, the vowel e may also be the peak of a weak syllable if it occurs before a consonant that is initial in the syllable that follows it. For the example is be in word habitat. The important point is only strong syllables can be stressed. Weak syllables are always unstressed, although we do find unstressed strong syllables. For the example is dialect. The last syllable in the word dialect is a strong syllable, but it is unstressed. And let's move to the next topic, two syllables word. In the case of simple two-syllable words, either the first syllable or the second syllable will be stressed, not both. Verb usually stressed near the end of a word and a noun stressed near the beginning. We will look first at the verbs. If the final syllable is weak, then the first syllable is stressed. For the example is enter. In the word enter, the last syllable is weak, so the stress occurs in the first syllable. Then, a final syllable is also unstressed if it contains o. For the examples, follow. Because the last syllables in the word follow is o, so the first syllables will be stressed. The last is a final strong syllable is still stressed, although the first syllable is also strong. For the example, apply, attract. In the words apply and attract, both of their syllables is strong, so the second syllable will be stressed. Then we move to the adjective. For the adjective are stressed according to the same rule with a verb rule. For the example, lovely. The last syllable of word lovely is weak, so the first syllable will be stressed. But there are some exceptions in the word honest and in the word perfect. Both of them end with strong syllables, but are stressed on the first syllables. Then we are going to talking about noun. For the noun, stress will fall on the first syllable, except the first syllable is weak and the last syllable is strong. For the example is man. Because the first syllable is strong, so the stress will fall on the first syllable.
And for the other example is divine. Because the first syllable in the word divine is weak, so the stress will fall on the last syllable. The last is about adverb. For the adverb sim, you have like verbs and adjective roles.
Okay, we move to the 3-syllable words. Here we find a more complicated picture. One problem is the difficulty of identifying 3-syllable words which are indisputably simple. First, for the simple verbs, if final syllable is strong, it will receive primary stress. For example, entertain, resurrect. We see that the final syllable of entertain and resurrect is strong, so it will receive primary stress in the final syllable. Next, if the syllable is weak, it will be unstressed. Unstressed will be placed on the preceding syllable if that syllable is strong. Example, encounter, determine. We see that the last syllable is weak, so it will be unstressed, and the stress will be placed on the preceding syllable. The next, if both of the second and third syllable are weak, stress will be placed on the initial syllable. For example, parody, monitor. We see that the both second and third syllable of the two words are weak, so stress is placed on the initial syllable. For noun, in general, stress will fall on the first syllable unless it is weak. For example, in word quantity and word custody. However, in words with weak first syllable, stress is on next syllable. We see in the word potato and word synopsis, we see that the p and c is weak syllable, so stress is on the next syllable. Next, if 3-syllable noun has a strong final syllable, that syllable will not usually receive the main stress. For example, intellect, and in the word stalactite. Two words we see that a strong final syllable, but that will not usually receive the main stress, and the main stress is placed on the first syllable. Then for adjective, it has the same rules as general noun. Stress fall on the first syllable. For the example, opportune, insolent. Okay guys, the last, there is something that you have to give it highlight. The above rule, placement of stress within the word, certainly doesn't cover all English words. It seems better to attempt to produce some stress rule, even when they are rather inaccurate, than to claim no rule or regularity in English word stress. Yup, thank you guys for following our lesson today, and let's discuss it in the comment below. And thank you, see you next time, stay safe, stay at home, stay healthy too, bye bye.